At T-Mobile, our critical mission is providing unparalleled 5G coverage for when connectivity is mission critical. Introducing T-Priority, America's best 5G network experience for first responders, even in times of congestion. More capacity, faster speeds, better coverage. T-Priority from T-Mobile, built for tomorrow's emergencies, ready today. Discover more at t-priority.com.
For qualifying organizations on eligible rate plans, coverage not available in some areas and may be impacted by emergencies.
Every Pokemon Episode Ever podcast is now on YouTube. Go on YouTube and search Every Pokemon Episode Ever podcast and click that subscribe button to never miss an episode. Back, everybody, to another fantastic episode of the Every Pokemon Episode Ever podcast. I am one of your hosts, Wrestling Chris G, and on the other line with me is my spooky brother. It's good old Dougie Fresh. Dougie, my man, how you doing?
Boo.
Yeah, don't scare me, Doug. Don't do it.
Well, you know, you're down there in that basement. You probably have at least one ghost.
I know, and he's over here like, he ain't scary. You want to see scary? I'll show you scary.
Who said it's a he?
It. Whatever. You know what I'm talking about.
You know damn well it's a little girl.
Oh, don't say that.
It might be.
Don't say that, Doug.
I bet you if I asked your wife, I bet you she'd agree with me. She's like, yeah, it's maybe not a little girl, but I bet you it's female.
Yeah, it probably is. Oh, my good friend Tay Conti just sent me a message. What did she send me? Yes, everybody, I am personal friends with Tay Conti from AEW.
Did you see my horrible run-in on Dynamite?
That's literally, I mean, it's about the show, but I'll tell you off air. So, yeah, not gonna read that message out loud. So,
no,
it's nothing like that.
it's like, damn, well,
don't
get yourself in trouble now.
Yeah, I was about to say I'm recording. No, nothing like that. Today's episode is episode 673. I don't think I said that on last week's episode. I also don't think I gave the Japanese subtitle to last week's episode. Chill Army is Clean is last week's.
I don't remember you saying that.
Yeah. Tonight's episode is called A Night in the Nacrene City Museum, and translated from Japanese, Shippō City Museum Adventure. And this episode premiered December 23rd, 2010, and here in the States, May 7th, 2011. And if you listened to last week's episode, that's the reason we don't have too much rambling, because it was literally, we ended last week's episode. I sent Dougie Fresh photos of the Pokemon cards that I received, and we jumped straight into this week's episode. How did you like those shiny Pokemon cards? I did it with the flash for you.
I will be very interested to see what you're able to dig up, because I'm guessing you got a couple of good ones.
Yeah, I'm guessing, and I'm gonna look, and I'll probably send them off to go get graded. But I'm guessing I do have some pretty good ones here. So, and people that missed last week's, I had two great pulls. I'm guessing I have a Mew EX card, shiny, and I have a Mega Rayquaza card.
They're up on the Instagram, right? I mean, by the time this is out.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. So go ahead and take a look on the good old Instagram, and you can see these cards right before I'm getting them graded. So
by the time this is out, you might not be able to Well, I was gonna say bid on them, but I don't know what you're gonna end up doing.
No, I'm probably not going to sell it. My son will probably flip his mind if I
I
sell
mean, you
these.
say that, but if it comes back, you got to put two kids through college,
That is true.
and it ain't gonna get cheaper.
So, all right, everybody. Um, Today, like I said, this episode premiered in the States May 7th of 2011. And Doug, mine happened in 2011. So I know you're damn well going first this week because you're the historian of this podcast. Oh, that should have been your nickname this week.
Oh fuck!
Oh, it
I
hits
didn't even
me
catch. Yeah, shit. I caught your one last week. I didn't catch that. Yeah, well, shit.
because we're in a museum. You're the
Ah,
historian. God.
son of a gun.
I missed it, but at least I caught it on the episode.
Shucks.
So, all right, Mr. Historian, what do you got for us this week?
On this day, in the year of our Lord, 1914, the U.S. Congress establishes Mother's Day.
What?
Yeah.
What? Okay, cool. I'm sorry, everybody. That's pretty cool. That's
So,
all you mothers out there.
all you mothers out there, right before Christmas. Um, right? This is what we decided right before Christmas?
Yep.
Yeah.
Next week is Christmas, everybody, and you're getting a episode, a Mewtwo episode. Sorry,
It's a movie.
movie. Yes.
So it's a bit of a supersized episode because I think it's only like what, an hour.
Yep.
Um, so this was something that was originally proposed in 1908, but it was rejected by reason of if we have a Mother's Day, then we're going to have a Mother-in-Law's Day, and nobody wants that. Santa Claus. Um, the holiday. Let's see. The holiday began to be observed in 1911, but um, it wasn't like made official until, as I said, 3 years later. Um, so yeah, Mother's Day. It's the second Sunday in May. I think this year.
I had a sucky
Well,
Mother's Day well, Mother's Day itself was okay, but that was the day that my house flooded this past year.
oh shit, yeah.
That was not good, and my wife was the one that found it. Happy Mother's
Happy
Day.
Mother's Day.
So,
So yeah, Mother's Day. Get those flowers and those brunch reservations and those pink baseball bats and let her sleep in for a little bit.
when you have kids, there is no sleeping in. All right. Let's see. All right, everybody. Mine happened in 2011. This is the day that Pirates of the Caribbean on Stranger Tides, starring Johnny Depp and Penelope Cruz, premiered and in opening weekend made $350.6 million. Doug.
Which, pardon me, what number was this in the franchise?
You would ask me that. Let me see. Pirates of the Caribbean in order. So this was
Ah,
the fourth in the franchise.
and since
And
I know you're probably on the Wikipedia article, where are they now?
there's 5 released and they have a 6th one being made
I'm sure
called
they do.
Tales of the Code Wedlock. So yes, they are
So
making a sixth one.
somebody's getting married.
Yes,
Of course they are, because Johnny Depp ain't been in a movie in a minute.
but I mean he doesn't need to because he gets royalties from this. But you want to know
Yeah.
you want to know something, and I'm gonna give people like a little bit of an insight, because I don't think I've ever talked about this, and we're just off the cuffs of Halloween and all this. Doug, so
Hmm.
I'm gonna give you a best friend test real quick. And Doug's like, um, hold up. um, what is one of my favorite horror movie franchises? Something that I actually went to the movies and watched four of these in a row without leaving the movie theater.
Nightmare on Elm Street.
Oh, even
Ah,
though
poop.
even though that is one of them. I love Paranormal Activity, and I know he's gonna kick his desk right now. I am a huge.
Have you seen the new one?
It's funny you say that. I just found out that they released a documentary and they released the movie on the same day. Me and my wife laid in bed last night and watched the documentary. And hopefully, as long as everything goes accordingly tonight or tomorrow, I will be watching the movie. It's already queued up and everything on our Paramount Plus account. And I had no, I just logged into Paramount Plus and it said Paranormal Activity. And I was like, they made another movie? No shit. I've been waiting years for this.
Yeah,
So,
I was talking to a friend of mine, and we were talking about how hype we were on the on the new Halloween that just came out. And she was like, "Yeah, and the new Paranormal Activity." And I was like, hold on, wait just a tick here." And then I looked it up, and sure enough, Next of Kin.
yep. So, are you big on Paranormal Activity,
No,
Doug? No, no, you never got you yeah. Because I know I've never watched one of the movies with you, but I wasn't sure if you have seen them or if you were a fan of them.
no, I never. I can't say that I'm not a fan because I never got the train rolling.
Okay.
Um, I'm sure. Um, what is there now? Like six or seven, and
The
then
new
there's some.
the new one is the seventh movie.
Yeah, so see, isn't there like some offshoots as well?
Well, yeah, there's four main movies, and then they kind of go off into other realms, but they kind of in the last movie they kind of tied it back to the first movie. Well, all,
Right,
all the movies kind of tie together, but
right.
they tie it back to the first movie. So they kind of all intertwine together. I'm very curious to watch this seventh installment because during the documentary, we got a slight preview of this movie, and I'm sold. I'm like, all right, well, whether it's good or bad, I've been waiting on this for God knows how long. So I'm gonna enjoy it, even though it might suck, because I'm gonna be real. I was not there was a paranormal movie. I call it the Mexican Paranormal Activity, and I I wasn't I wasn't too thrilled on it. It was called The Marked Ones, and
Ah, okay.
yeah, I didn't like that one too much. Like I like 1 through 4, and there's reasons I like number 4, but I'm not going to go into that. And I liked the last one. I could have done without the marked ones. So
Gotcha.
yeah, but yeah.
You want? Wait a minute. Wait a minute. I want to tie this back because you said something and then I took the ball and ran like 20 yards ahead. You watched 4 of those movies in a row.
Yes.
Why?
Um, when they were premiering Paranormal Activity 4, what they did was they played the movies in chronological order in AMC. This was right before, Stephanie was full blown pregnant, by the way, full blown pregnant. And
As opposed to just a little bit pregnant.
no, she was full blown pregnant. This movie came out. Let's see.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. She was so pregnant we had to buy an extra ticket.
Shut up. Here,
Good night, everybody.
let me see. Paranormal Activity, because my son was born in 2013. This movie came out. So so I'll this movie came out, let's see, December. So she was 5 months pregnant at this point. Okay.
Oh well, that's not full blown.
It wasn't full blown, but I mean, if you knew her around that pregnancy, she was pregnant.
If I get somebody pregnant, I get them pregnant.
She's pregnant. But yeah. So they played the movies in chronological order. So there's a specific way to watch the movies. So like number three was a prequel. So number 3 was when they were like little kids. Number 2 was a prequel to number 1, and then they played number 1. So they played it 3, 2, 1, and then number 4. So they played it in the order that the movies were supposed to basically be told, the way the story is supposed to be told going through. And
Gotcha.
And they had a midnight premiering of number 4. And this was around the time I was still working at AMC at the time. And me and Stephanie were off of work this day. So we went, and she fell asleep after the first movie. So I sat up and I watched 2, 1, and number 4 basically all by myself. I mean, she woke up in number 4 because she got hungry and wanted some popcorn and shit. But yeah. She's like, you're making me sit through this. You're gonna get my ass some popcorn and a soda and some candy and a hot dog and a cheeseburger.
Now, come on, she wasn't that pregnant.
What?
I said, come on, she wasn't that pregnant.
You didn't see this girl eat when she was pregnant.
You forget I have her number. I can corroborate your story.
She will back me up on that one. So, all right, everybody. I know you're tired of hearing pregnant stories.
Pregnant.
I get pregnant. I'm so glad she don't listen to this podcast. She's just gonna get a text message from one of her friends that listens to the show, because she has a couple friends, and she it's just gonna be the line, when I get her pregnant, I get her pregnant. She's gonna be like, babe, what the hell did you say on the damn show?
You say I didn't say it.
So, all right, everybody, it's time to get on into this week's episode. Let me go ahead and let me. No, I'm good. Come on, mute button. There we go. That's what I wanted. I was about to get a copyright strike. But you ready, Doug?
I don't know. Well, I mean, it might pick up on your end, because I was going to say I've played some audio and you haven't said one way or the other whether you could hear it. So it might just play. But since you're the one with the recorder,
yeah, since I'm the one with the recorder, if I play it, it will show up. If you play it, it's not going to show up. So, all right, everybody. So the running joke is over, Doug. It is over.
Yes, right away.
Because we start this episode and we are not on our way to Nacrene City. We are in Nacrene City. And
I just started laughing. I said, "You've been walking for 5 months, and now you're just here."
and Pikachu is happier than a pig in shit. I should have said to pig is happier than a pig in shit. But yes, we come into this beautiful town and we get educated right away that this beautiful town is just a bunch of unused warehouses that get rented out to artists who can put their art to the test and make this town beautiful. So every place in this city is basically just art. Like the rooftops are art, the freaking windows are art, the freaking bricks are art. They got murals everywhere. Doug.
The freaking bricks are art. No, colorful is all get out. They don't shy away from that at all. And Silence, obviously with him being is he still a gym leader? Because he walked away.
Well, yes. He did say he's only taking a break. So he's going out to follow another true ambition of his, but he will be back.
So as a gym leader,
he's pulling a Brock.
He's right. And he's got, obviously the inside information. Well, not the inside, but he just offhand knows that the gym in Nacrene City is in a museum.
Yes.
And, Ash is like a dog with a treat. He hears Jim and he's like automatically like nothing else matters. He's like, we got to go there now. We can do a badge. And
he's just ready, Doug.
And we get there, and it's a beautiful building, much like the rest of the city. And right out front is a big old sign with a red X going through it. And we find out that it's closed.
Yes. And not only is it closed, but they try to open the door, and the door is locked. And they hear someone screaming in the background. And then we shoot to the inside of this building, and we see someone being chased by what seems to be a ghost. And he's running, and then he runs into the door, and then he runs into our heroes. And he's like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad to see you guys. He's like, I was just being chased by a ghost. And I did pass the theme song, everybody. But he...
I panicked for a second. I was like, what the fuck cut does he have? I was like,
yeah, we got the title sequence and all that, but but this is all one big blurb, so they shouldn't have put the theme song here. But
you're honestly, the theme song should have come as soon as he comes crashing out the door.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
So he's sitting here and he's panting, and he's like, I've been chased by a ghost. This place is haunted. And Ash, Silent, and Iris are looking inside. They're like, I don't see jack shit. I don't see anything.
Which you wouldn't, would you?
No, he just said it's a ghost.
And we find out that it's all about a dome fossil.
Yes.
And so they walk in, and Pikachu goes right up to the platform that's holding the dome fossil, and Pikachu's like, it's right there. It's not, and the guy's like, well, I swear it was chasing me. I promise you. And obviously it's somebody seeing a ghost, so everybody's looking at him like he's got a second head growing out of his shoulder.
So, and he's like, all right, well, you know what? wi- well, Ash is like, well, you know what? I'm hungry. So they all leave, and this guy goes with them to sit down for lunch, and he's going over how their secret artifact exhibits. They just got some um, new stuff inside of this museum, and that the fossils and everything that's in there, some of them are replicas, to make everything look nice. But that this Jim, but that he's actually the husband of the gym leader, that is in that well that lives inside of the museum with him. Doug.
Right. And we find out that in the rush to get the display, like they wanted to get the display done as soon as possible, so they kind of worked late. And by the time all the workers left, it was dark, and he was doing like a final sweep over everything to make sure everything was in its place and everything was up to snuff. And he said, things got pretty spooky, um, pretty quick, because he was in there all by himself. And he said that's when I heard the cry.
And then he looked behind him and he saw a floating ghost coming towards him. And he just took off running. And he ran out of the museum. And then I guess he ended up calling some workers, or had some workers come back the following day, and they were just taking a look, but they couldn't find anything out of the ordinary inside of the museum. They're just looking around. They're basically thinking he's crazy. He's thinking he's crazy. He's like, did I really see a ghost, or did I just get spooked inside of an empty museum? And then the workers left, and then he went back inside one last time. And as soon as he went back inside, he saw the ghost again, and it scared him, and it started chasing him. And that's when he met up with Ash, Silent, and Iris. Doug?
Yeah, so essentially the museum hasn't been, and I mean, I guess I'm using finger quotes, so I mean, so good podcast content, but it's only been it's only been closed for what, maybe a day or two,
Yes.
because this literally just happened. So because he said, we decided to postpone the opening of the exhibit until we could get things under control. And that's basically when you showed up pounding on my door like a 5-year old. Because because you can't read a goddamn sign.
That says we're closed.
Right. I mean, what else did you need? Um, and Iris is immediately like, well, it's a curse.
So it's at this point that Silent and Iris go back and forth like crazy throughout this episode. So Silent says, well, what type of facts do you have that
I
that
love
it's a
this part.
curse? And she goes, well, I have my wits. And he's like, well, science beats wits any day. And I was just dying.
And I had to laugh kind of early on in the exchange. Aksu is on Iris's shoulder, and like I think he could tell that like gonna turn into some shit. He just disappears into her hair,
He's like,
and he
yeah,
doesn't
I'm
pop.
gone.
He doesn't. Yeah, he doesn't pop up for a couple minutes. And like you said, they go back and forth.
And then
Silence like
Ash just gets furious in the middle of them going back and forth. I just want my battle.
because he's 5 and he needs his bottle.
Yes.
Um, and see, I understand that the official gym is in the museum. I think at one point we saw him walking on the gym floor. Um, and I mean, obviously, we know because we glanced We went through the episode obviously before we sat down here. We know that the actual gym leader isn't here. But
Yes.
what is to stop them from just having battles outside in the backyard somewhere?
Nothing.
It's I mean, I understand Ash is a petulant child that just wants his bottle and wants to move on, but sometimes he's got a point.
So, let's see. But yeah, we don't get the name, man, and this guy should be freaking slapped in the head. So the owner of this museum exhibit, um, whose wife is the gym leader, says that his wife is the gym leader here, but she's not here. But he doesn't say her name. We don't
No,
get
he
her
does.
name. No, he doesn't. At the
Yes,
very
he
end, he
does.
says it. He does.
No, I'm looking at a screenshot right now. 6 minutes 1 second. Lenora.
Oh, Lenora. Okay, okay. I missed that. My bad.
Well, no, I mean you could. I mean, if you weren't paying attention, smack on because it's just said in passing. I mean, and then they're like, "Oh, Lenora," and then they're like, "Oh yeah, well, don't worry about her. She ain't here." Like, well, then don't bring her up.
So it's at this point that he brings them
Wait,
in. What?
Silence should have known that.
Yeah, he should have. But I
That's
mean, I don't think he was in any mood to really say it. I mean, he probably did know.
But he could have said because he dropped the knowledge that the gym was in the museum.
Yes,
He should say, "Hey, you should try to go get a battle with Lenora."
he should, but he didn't.
I'm just,
Shame on him.
I'm sitting here rewriting these goddamn episodes.
So he brings them inside to look at all of the exhibits that they have just brought in. They take a look at a 300 million year old Kabuto fossil. Ash is very educated in Kabuto because he was in a whole cave full of them.
Right.
And then they walk up and they see a dragonite fossil and
Which is,
a replica, right?
yes.
And they said that it's a skeletal model, and it's the largest skeletal model in the world of a dragonite, which is kind of creepy. Just
Yes, it is.
yeah. So not only do they see that, and then they take a look at this amazing rock. It's a meteorite, and I bet you can, and it's from space. So Doug, you know where that's going, right?
No.
That's the meteorite that Team Rocket wants.
Oh gosh.
The best part of the episode.
I don't pay attention to what they're trying to do. I just pay attention to them being awesome.
Yes.
It's like, do you really know what a James Bond movie's about? No, you just watch him
Do
shoot
some
and drive fast
badass
cars,
shit.
bang hot women.
Facts. I still need to watch that newest one. So, but that's after paranormal. So yeah, he introduces them to the meteorite, the one that Team Rocket is looking for, and he said it has some type of cosmic energy, and he's like, it's fascinating, and everyone's like, man, that's so cool. And then he takes them over to the secret artifacts exhibit, where you see a bunch of armored suits and a bunch of, let's see, you see a mummy coffin. There's some stones uh, inside of an exhibit. Let's see, what else is there? But we find out that a lot of these things are replicas. They're not the real.
Right.
They're not the real deal, but they look cool.
Oh,
Doug?
they look nice, and you're passing through, and you wouldn't know if it was genuine or a reproduction. And and Iris is still banging the curse drum. She's like, "It's a curse. I just don't know what exactly." But she's like,
He's like, it's my sixth sense. And Silent is shutting her right down, which means you have no evidence that it's a curse.
Right.
It's only a hunch. And then this is where they come up to what looks to be a Yamask mask. Yamask is a ghost Pokemon,
Yes.
which I have one too many of in the Pokemon Go game. I'll just throw that out there.
Was that the Halloween event this year?
This year and last year.
Oh no, not doubles.
I have a lot of them. But they did make this Halloween event a little bit more tactical and things that we had to do this Halloween, which kind of pissed me off a little bit. I was like, this should be easy. This should not be hard. I was like, I'm level 40. This should be easy to me.
Right.
So they're taking a look at the Yamask mask, and he's going over how it's a replica of a Yamask mask, and that Iris is looking and she's like, I have a bad feeling about that mask. There's just something about that mask. I have a bad feeling. And then that's the last that we see of that mask for a while. And they go walking into a room full of books. And it has a bunch of information and encouraged studies inside of all of these books. Doug?
And Iris is just, she won't shut it. She's like, I got a bad feeling. I don't know. I just, something strange. Yeah. And her brows furrowed, and she's like, look, I've been saying this for an hour. I got to come up with something at one point. And then, of course, to completely diffuse the situation, Ash goes, I'll tell you one thing. I'm hungry.
Because because it's not like he just ate outside with them, and they're being brought inside of this museum right after they just ate.
Right.
Just saying.
And then, so Iris yells at Ash for a second, and then Silent's like, hey, would it be okay if we just slept in here tonight? And Hawes is kind of taken aback by that, and he's like, "That's a little strange." And Silent's like, "Well, yeah, but this way we would be here tonight if anything out of the ordinary happened."
Yep.
Which, fair point. I mean, it's not at all practical, but it's a fair point.
So it's at this point that he allows them to sleep over inside of this museum to see if they can come up with anything that's going on inside of this museum. And we go straight from that to nighttime to Team Rocket getting ready to meet up with Pierce. Doug, I know you just went over some, but I normally give you the Team Rocket spiels. Do you want to go over your badassism?
So we come out of the museum, and we see obviously that it's nighttime because everybody else is bedding down in their sleeping bags. Um, Ash has the egg, but we don't see where it came from. But we do see that the egg is in a glass case, which we didn't, or at least I didn't make note of last week. So it is at least in a case, but I can't imagine it's just in the backpack. But that's neither here nor there. Um, and we find Team Rocket waiting underground um, for their contact. Well, for Pierce, like you said, and he has been behind them presumably the whole time. And they're kind of like, we had no idea you were back there, which I was a little disappointed in because that's like a Kanto Team Rocket reaction, like derp kind of thing. They shouldn't be on their heels like that, but that's neither here nor there. And then Pierce is like, I have your next assignment. And he's like, have you finished investigating the museum? And Jesse's like, well, that's being taken care of. And Pierce is like, all right, because otherwise you'd be in some shit. And basically Pierce says that headquarters wants them to switch out the meteorite that's in the museum that we just covered, um, which they should know because weren't they looking at the museum or at least like a map of the museum last week?
Yes, they were.
So they shouldn't be surprised by this.
So they should know
Um,
exactly where to go.
so they flash back to the scene on the bench from a couple weeks ago? Question mark.
Yes, I would say about 3 episodes ago when they were on the bench and they first met up with Pierce.
When they got the briefcase and we saw the meteorite, we find out for sure that that's a decoy
Yes,
meteorite.
yes,
And
and that's when Pierce told Team Rocket that just look at it, recognize it, become familiar with it, and I will tell you a little bit more about it later. And this is the later now.
but then so Pierce says obviously switch out the decoy for the real meteorite, but that's not your true target. And once again, Team Rocket is completely on the back foot. But I don't blame Team Rocket for this. This is just Pierce not giving all the information. Because Jesse's like, look, you need to tell us what's going on. We don't like beating around the bush. And they pan up and that's it.
Yes.
And when I say that's it, I don't mean for now. I mean for the episode.
So
Frustrated,
eh, we'll get there, Doug. We'll get
pissed
there.
off.
We'll get there.
Team Rocket actually has some shit to sink their teeth into, and we get them for 5 minutes while these three fucking bicker about.
And then they go and cancel our two-parter episode to conclude everything.
Right. Pisses me off. Let it be a movie.
For real. So, okay, everybody. So from here, we go straight back into the museum with Sleepyhead Ash and everyone that's inside, and they start hearing a noise. And Ash is getting woken up by Iris, who says she has a feeling something is wrong. I have a weird chill, she says. And they're like, she's like, something's getting ready to happen. And freaking Silent just blows her down and just is like another unscientific explanation. And that's when we start getting a black smoke inside of the museum, which wakes up. Did we ever get his name, Doug?
Yeah, his name is Hawes.
Ah,
Hawes.
Hawes. Okay. So this wakes up Hawes, the museum guy, and he jumps up and he is now all freaked out. He's like, what in the world could this be? What is going on here? And freaking Iris is like, I told you it's an angry spirit and something bad is about to happen. And of course, from here, this is where Silent comes in. He's like, the air,
That
air
pissed me
could,
off. I was with Silent up until this point because Silent's like, oh, push the air conditioning must have bro.
he's like, yeah, the air condition must have broken down. And it's from here. And then we start hearing a groaning noise. And from here, this is when one of the suits of armor starts walking into the frame. And then that's when we get a Yamask as the Who's That Pokemon. And when we come back, the suit of armor is walking towards them. And Silent is just Silent is just, I normally don't like to call Silent a dick, but Silent's being a dick here. He's like, because Iris is like, what is your scientific explanation for this, Silent? And Silent's like, this is easy. It's a poltergeist Pokemon, which refers to things that move due to vibrations and ultra low frequency sound waves. Doug?
I mean, look, did he explain it? He explained it by the book, right?
Yes.
But like, he didn't have to be so smug about it. I mean, he's right, but he didn't. He did everything except reach over and pat her on the head.
And say, you're right.
and say, yeah, you take it easy, don't you? Just sit down and let the adults handle it. But yeah, so the suit of armor is charging. Ash sends Pikachu out to do a tackle, and the suit of armor completely goes to pieces. But of course, Ghost and all that, so it just regenerates. And Ash says, this time use Volt Tackle, and once again, pieces. And then
They're pissing this thing off.
this time the actual source of energy comes floating out and floats by Ash. And what does Ash say?
So at this point, let's see. A- Ash doesn't
Ash
say
is like,
anything.
man, that thing's hot.
Yeah. And it's at this point he sends out Oshawott and tells Oshawott to use water gun. And water gun hits this little orb, and then the orb jumps into the helmet of the suit of armor. And freaking Iris looks over at Silent and was like, explain this. And
And he does. He
he's
does.
like, this is a change in the magnetic field. He's like, it's reacting to the armor, which is causing it to float.
He's not wrong.
And Ash is like, Pikachu, Iron Tail. We don't have time for this. So Pikachu goes up and Iron Tails and hits the helmet and it falls to the ground. And Iris is like, man, Hawes, you know what? Um, this is a really angry spirit, and she's not wrong,
And she's like, it must be after you. And he's like, but I haven't done anything.
unbeknownst to him.
And then it starts to rain.
Yep.
But this one is kind of, I mean, this one could be explained because Silent's like, it must just be the sprinklers in the building, but then it stops like as soon as it started. And then they hear crying off in the distance.
And that's the crying that Hall says that he heard,
This
um,
one pissed me off from Silent.
that he heard the other night. And Silent is like, that crying is actually a low frequency sound wave, which are causing something to speak.
I'm
And
like, bro, shut up. Just
I think I'm waiting for the moment because Silent finally goes, I'm really starting to stop believing myself when I'm saying this stuff. But I'm waiting for it. But
and then
Ash returns Oshawott back into its Pokeball, and then they start running into another room, the room where the Yamask mask is in there, and the Yamask mask is crying. Doug?
and and Ash is like, why is the mask sad? And because he's an idiot. Um, and Iris is like, well, it must be upset, like I've been telling you. And then it raises up off of its platform and starts banging on the glass. And Silent's still on some magnetic shit. And Iris is about to punch him in the dick. And, and it's at this point the freaking Dragonite skeleton is possessed. And pardon me, we think it's going after them, but it's really trying to break the glass of the Yamask exhibit. And Pansage comes out, and it's using Bullet Seed, and that aggravates the. We find out that a Yamask is possessing the skeleton, and it comes out, and the Yamask floats away, which of course causes the skeleton to crash, and then
and
then
it's at this point
Pause
that
fucks up.
yeah, he does. But Hawes goes over to check on the Yamask mask and takes his key card and opens the exhibit. And from there, the exhibit opens, the Yamask mask floats out, and then it goes and flies on top of Silent's face. And then Silent's trying to pull it off, and they're trying to get it off, but it's stuck on his face. And it's from here that Silent pushes everybody away, and then he's just standing there all stone faced. Boom, boom.
Ah, boo.
Hey, come on, that was a good one. And he looks up, and we find out that Silent is now possessed. He's like, I shall punish you. And then he holds up his hands and he shoots out two like purple fireballs out of his hands. And they're like, what is wrong with you? And Silent and Iris is like, it's obvious that the angry spirit is inside of him and it's possessing him at this point. Doug?
And through Silent, the Yamask is like, because he has a really good. He's like, you locked my mask away, and he said, my mask is precious to me, and this is when we hear the voice of Lenora, and
she said that mask, that your mask is the real deal, all right?
because Hayes, pardon me, Hayes was convinced that it was a replica, because why would somebody send me a real, honest to goodness mask? And yeah, so we get a look at Lenora for the first time.
Yes. And then we get the backstory as to when the workers were bringing in all of the replicas, that your mask must or that he found the mask on the floor and he put it into the exhibit because he had ordered a mask, and he just assumed that this was the mask that he had ordered.
Right. He thought it no, because he thought it was a replica of the um, sarcophagus.
Yes.
But he said they must have just sent the Yamask replica. He thought they sent the Yamask replica as like a bonus. And he was like, well, it's, I'm not going to look a gift horse in the mouth. So, he put it in the display as well. And then Lenora's like, you honestly should have known better than that.
And he should have.
He's like, yeah, I really should have. And the Yamask raises the Dragonite skeleton again and is trying to force everybody to leave. And then Lenora throws out her Pokemon, which is a watchdog.
A watchhog.
Watchhog.
Yeah. It's a watchhog. It's a squirrel Pokemon.
And it looks like it's wearing like a vest.
Well, it's not a squirrel. What would you call this Pokemon? Because they actually give what this Pokemon is. Ash says it's the evolved form of Patrat.
Patrat. So it's a freaking. It's like a wombat kind of thing, like a rat, wombat. It's a vermin.
So, what it allows its eyes and stripes to glow, and when it does that, it kind of blinds your mask.
Because it's classified as a lookout Pokemon, and because of the light attack, the Yamask is disoriented and it flies off of Silent, and then it allows itself to be seen, and then we get Dexter kind of giving the rundown on Yamask, and it's kind of bullshit. It's not really much of anything.
No. So it's at this point that everybody starts apologizing to your mask, and your mask takes its mask off of Silent and then floats it up into the air. And from floating it up into the air, it reveals itself finally. And Ash takes out his Pokédex, finds out Yamask is a ghost type Pokemon that wanders the ruins of ancient civilizations. So it's been hiding in the artifacts at this point.
Yeah, and we kind of get the explanation of everything. The artifact was in everything when it was getting moved, and it fell off, and then it was placed in the case by mistake, and then when your mask woke up, it assumed that its mask was stolen, and basically, um, she's kind of given the rundown of like, you know, we messed up, we shouldn't have done that. We're sorry, and then Iris gets on all up on her high horse, and she's like, "I've been telling everybody
This
that
whole
there was
time.
some spooky stuff, and nobody was believing me." And Iris looks at Silent and goes, "I guess my intuition was better than yours." And Silent says, "Well, not exactly." And Iris, like I said, she's about to kick him in the dick.
So it's at this point that um, that they end up coming out of the museum. Everyone is sitting there talking, and Lenora is like, "You must be in town to challenge for the gym badge, Ash." And Ash, of course, doesn't miss a beat. "Of course I am." He's like, "I'm here." And she basically tells him, "Well, I'm looking forward to battling you. Why don't you go and get some rest, and then we will have a battle tomorrow." And that's how we're ending this week's episode. And from us ending this week's episode, that means next week's episode is a gym battle, but it's not next week. It's actually in 2 weeks. Next week, you're getting the Mewtwo movie. So, Doug,
Yeah.
we're done.
This was a 2.5. I can't even give this a 3. I mean, I just can't do it.
Yeah, I'll. You're gonna laugh. I'll give it a 3. So,
Oh, you fucker.
the only reason is because we got a tease of the gym leader in this episode, and there was a lot of battling in this episode. So next week they don't even need to. I'm hoping next week's episode is almost a full episode just full of battling. That's what I'm hoping for.
And and hopefully like 5 minutes of Team Rocket.
Yes. So that and something tells me Team Rocket's going to break in and try to. I think this might be the first encounter of Ash with Team Rocket, because Team Rocket has to break in there now and get that meteorite.
Oh yeah. Oh shit. I forgot. Yeah. Oh, it's gonna happen like right in the middle of the battle.
Yep.
And then Ash is gonna get another pity badge, isn't he?
I hope not.
Ah, poop.
We'll see. But outside of that, I do have 2 more celebration packs. And these are probably going to be somewhat of duds, because I feel like I probably have grabbed the rarest of the rare cards that I could grab out of this, because I have. Damn, I can't even get this thing open. Man, what is up with them and this super glue on these damn packs now? There we go. There we go. Is that all? Is that all for the card? Oh, that's just the code. Okay. First pack is a Lugia, a Cosmoem, a Lunala, and another fucking Venusaur. Another Venusaur.
First world problems.
I'm never going to get this Blastoise or Charizard.
Not with that attitude.
And then let's see. Let's try this second one. There we go. I'm just going to rip this one open. All right. I have a Kyogre, a Groudon, a Flying Pikachu V, and an Umbreon, a shiny Umbreon. I'll take it because I heard Umbreon is good, but it's not the... This one is not the one that I think everyone's going batshit crazy for. I'm going to have to do some research on it. But I do have an Umbreon. So I did at least get a card that I don't have yet. So there we go. So I got a winner, Doug. Doug? And I think I lost Doug. But all right, everybody. Doug, are you there?
Better no. Yeah, I was getting a little bit of breakup on my end.
Okay, no problem. But do you have anything to add this week, Doug, before we shoot off into our movie for next week?
No. I mean, I guess the main takeaway from this episode is he finally made it to Nacrene City. He's gonna have this battle, so we're finally gonna get some positive movement.
All right. So with that being said, Doug, go ahead and say goodbye, Doug.
Goodbye, Doug.
And this is Wrestling Chris G telling all of you that don't miss a beat, because next week you are only getting one episode, but it is a Mewtwo movie review, everyone. So have a good night, and we will see you next week.